And Rebecca, you can start.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for coming. We're going to start with the land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge Treaty 6 territory, the traditional and ancestral territory of the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, and Nakota Sioux. We acknowledge that this territory is home of the Métis settlements and the Métis Nation of Alberta, regions 2, 3, and 4, within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. I want to say thank you everybody for coming today. And we're all part of Core Alberta. So if you haven't already joined the website, you can join the newsletter and get enlisted. So there's lots of different information about healthy aging, intergenerational practices, and all sorts of different things. Great way to network with others. And our speakers today, and I apologize if I butcher anybody's name. We have Mira Kassam, Jennifer Wilmanson, Anita Newling, Betty and my name is Rebecca. We will be going through and chatting with you and keeping the conversation rolling. And I just wanted to let you guys all know that the last week of April is Global Intergenerational Week. So that's the 24th to the 30th. And there's the hashtag GIW20. Is that supposed to be IG? I'm not sure. Anyway, oh no, Global Intergenerational. Sorry. I always think it goes the other way around. 23, so that we can hashtag different posts so that they all get linked together. And today's topic is creating intergenerational awareness. So we're going to be thinking about when you became aware of the value that's related with intergenerational relationships and programming. And just going to think about that for a sec before we get started, because I think we probably all have different experiences in our life that brought us to that awareness. And it may have been when we were young. It may not have been until we were into adulthood. You just never know when. But just think about that for a sec. You can always pop comments in the chat throughout today, as well as we'll have different breakout rooms and whatnot.
Okay, and Rebecca, do you want to introduce the team?
Yeah, thank you for that slide. I can't see anything else on my little screen. So we have Betty, who was just talking. So she's our, sorry, I'm going to get real big on the screen and I apologize for anyone for that. As the program and training lead from Linkages in Calgary. Me, I'm the owner of Kraken Counseling in Rocky Mountain House. We have Charlene Fletcher, who's not with us today, but she's part of the team, or is it Corey that's not? Anyway, sorry, one of us is on vacation. Charlene is the therapeutic recreation specialist at Aged Care Columbia in Lethbridge. Corey Ladwig is the team lead for the seniors and adult community programs for the county of Brampton. Is she the one? Okay. I always get the names mixed up. I'm so awful that way. Better with faces. And then we have Janice. Oh Lord, I'm gonna butcher this one. Monfrey. She's the senior analyst for the Ministry of Seniors, Community and Social Services. And then Erin McFarlane, who is doing all of our lovely tech stuff for the digital engagement coordinator for Healthy Aging Alberta.
Okay, thanks, Rebecca.
You're welcome.
And I want to echo what Rebecca said. Welcome to our Intergenerational Community of Practice event, creating intergenerational awareness. Now, I'm going to start with a story. This is a real recent story. The people that you see in the middle are June and Wyatt. And on March 6th, so that's 2 weeks ago, I think, I opened up my email in the morning and I got an email from Wyatt's father. So let me just tell you the background, then I'm going to read to you what he wrote. So Erin, can I get you to check the waiting room while I'm doing this? Thanks.
Yep, I'm on it, thanks.
So 6 years ago, we usually at Linkages, our program, we work with junior high and high school. And I approached a school that had junior high in it 6 years ago because a care center wanted to start a program. And they said, well, can we do a grade 4 class? And I said, well, we can try it. It was like a pilot. Let's try it. And Wyatt was in this grade 4 class. So every other week from November until the end of May, Wyatt's grade 4 class went to the care center and visited the seniors, and Wyatt was matched up with June, along with a couple of other boys. So that was their group all school year. And then in May, Wyatt went home and he said to his mom, I don't get to see June anymore. They had such a bond. And so in the fall, when we went back for the second year of that program, June said, you know what? Wyatt's been visiting me all summer. So Wyatt's mother took Wyatt to visit June. And then they adopted her into their family. And they brought her to their house. They took her out for lunch. They just developed a real relationship. And so you'll see that in the pictures. So here is 6 years later, more than 6 years. Sorry about my hoarse throat. I opened this email from Wyatt's father, and I'm going to read this to you right now. Get your tissues, get your Kleenex ready. He said, hi, Betty. I posted this on my Instagram today. It was a sad day for us. We said goodbye. Okay, here's his Instagram post. And these are the pictures that he had on his Instagram post. We said goodbye today to a wonderful lady who was a big part of our family over the last 6 years. June, born June 3rd, 1927, left us today after a long life and just shy of her 96th birthday. It is solely because of Wyatt's big heart that we had the honor of getting to know and love June. As part of the Linkages program, in conjunction with Our Lady of Peace Elementary and Junior High and Millrise Seniors Village, Wyatt was June's senior buddy in grade 4 and 5. The summer after grade 4, Wyatt asked if we could continue to visit June and maintain a friendship with her. Those who had the pleasure of meeting June couldn't believe how sharp she was well into her 90s. As you can see in the photos, our family had a very special bond with June. Wyatt, from day one of meeting June, always made time for her, making sure we took her out for lunch or supper or brought her over for special occasions and welcomed June into our home with open arms. What is also apparent in the photos is the bond between June and Charlie. He would not leave her side when we were together. One of the last things June asked was to see Charlie, so we brought him to see her. He kissed her face and licked her hand. It brought a smile to her face as she was getting ready to leave us. Over the years, we've had lots of smiles and laughs with June, and that turned to lots of tears this week. And I'm sure the weeks to come as well, as we mourn her loss. June told me a few days before she passed. Oh, sorry. The day I met Wyatt was one of the best days of my life. As you can imagine, this makes Monique and I immensely proud of Wyatt and grateful he had the idea to continue their friendship outside of school and take June out for lunch all those years ago. We are the ones who were lucky she allowed us to adopt her into our family. June, I know you will watch over our family from heaven, especially Wyatt. But now it's your turn to love up all your family members who have passed before you, especially your mother, who you lost at such a young age. We will love you forever, and you will always have a special place in our family. And then he ended the email with this. We just want to thank you and the Linkages program. Without it, we would never have met June. Oh, sorry. I knew June and Wyatt both, and so this is a great example of what an intergenerational relationship is like. Wyatt's now 15, and imagine the impact that June has had on his life and will continue. It's a long-lasting impact when youth and seniors get together. So that's why you are all here, because you want to create intergenerational awareness in your community. And I hope you've had a chance to think of somebody in your life who's from a different generation who's had an impact on you. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to introduce, excuse me, I'm going to introduce our first speaker. So Mira is a current recreational assistant at a local retirement community home, local meaning Edmonton community home, and a Bachelor of Social Work student. She is passionate about advocating and enhancing the quality of life of seniors. During the early stages of COVID, she founded YEG Seniors Project with a goal to promote intergenerational engagement through organized, inclusive community projects. And this isn't the only thing Mira is involved in. You need to go and visit her website. It just kind of blew me away. And she sent me a whole page that I could have used for this introduction, but then I would have used up the whole 10 minutes. I'm so impressed, Mira, with you and what you're doing. And so we are privileged to have Mira speak today. So Mira, take it away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mira Qasim. I'm currently 22 years old. I'm a Bachelor of Social Work student, as mentioned, and I did found YEG Seniors Project. YEG stands for Edmonton. It's kind of like a young generation way. They say YYC, YEG. It's like the airport area codes that are really popular. So early COVID, there was limited volunteering opportunities in the community. And, you know, a bunch of my friends, a bunch of social work students, others in the community, you know, we saw how seniors were going through such a difficult time. And, you know, what could we have done with all the major restrictions? So that was where the first idea came together, where I started an Instagram page and told peers and reached out to local senior retirement homes and said, can we do a drive-by event at your senior's home with postcards and big letters that just say, you are strong, happy Mother's Day, happy Father's Day. So we did both of those. I'm just going to share my screen with you. So this was kind of like the second one we did over here. I'm just going to show you. I know visuals may be a little bit better.
It was an early Father's Day surprise for seniors at an Edmonton retirement facility. Community members held a drive-by parade to honor the special occasion.
Happy to see everybody coming out.
So that was kind of like, that's a little small glimpse of what we've kind of done. I was able to, I'm just going to go to my presentation here. Recently, I was able to be nominated as Alberta's top 30 under 30 with ACGC. So that was great. That just happened recently. So we're always doing things and organizing inclusive community projects where we can get others involved, organizations involved, students involved, young students involved, even older students involved, or older people from the community, to kind of bridge the gap between generations. And that's kind of what we have been doing. So that's just me recently. And this is my grandfather. My grandfather passed away just on my birthday this year. So it was really sad time, but he was such an advocate for, you know, making sure that the younger generations are engaged with the older generations in families and communities or wherever it may be. So I'm just trying to kind of live on his legacy a little bit, that, and just kind of follow his path. I'm currently also a practicum student at the University of Alberta Hospital with my Bachelor of Social Work, where I'm able to really engage with older adult patients, right? And kind of see, you know, kind of have that connection and bond in a professional way as well. Other than that, the thing where we kind of wanted to talk about today, especially just for my little introduction, was, how do we get to reach the community members? How do we get to, connect with others in the community? And it all comes down to the way we advocate, the way we market, the way we engage and connect with the community and say, these are the opportunities I hope to do, or these are the opportunities out there that can really promote that sense of intergenerational engagement in our communities. So currently I have a team and some general volunteers who are just up to date on whatever we are doing. And from that, we kind of go and execute all these plans and plans of actions. And we really go and do more for the seniors as much as we can. And we do get grants that are actually applicable for a lot of people. So I'll kind of go into that with my presentation. So yeah, that's kind of just my introduction. Betty, would you like me to go right into the presentation? Awesome. Okay. So this is a stress ball that we were able to get for some of the seniors, kind of thinking about creative things that could really benefit them when we did one of our projects. So a few of our projects we did was the drive-by events. So we did that at 2 local Edmonton facilities for Mother's Day and for Father's Day. We also got a grant to do compassion care packages for the Edmonton Aboriginal Senior Center here in Edmonton, where we're able to support Indigenous businesses as well. We also did 350 baskets for Meals on Wheels clients, and we were able to get that delivered and really work with these organizations to really execute that. For COVID compassion cards, we got Edmonton Public Schools involved, we got junior highs, we got organizations, we got local businesses involved to, make some cards and drop them off around the city at some local businesses. And we were able to do over 3,000 cards during the COVID time, really height time of COVID. And they were disinfected, they would wait, and then they would deliver them to the seniors. We also have a companion calls program. And for that, that's where seniors and students get matched to each other, and then they give each other phone calls. This one was a little bit tricky one to do. I'll go more about it a little bit later. And we just completed a documentary with the University of Alberta called Community Service Learning, where we had students come in and interview seniors at a local retirement facility and ask them about their experiences with COVID-19, where they're really able to go in depth. And that was the project for these students, where they were actually getting graded on. These are some socks and cards delivered by some students here in Edmonton, a bunch of socks for seniors. These are some cards that we got that these are, this wasn't at height COVID time, but this was a little bit later. And then we have over here the COVID compassion, the baskets of love. So these were all the baskets that we were able to make. There was dental items, there was home care items in there, brochures, there was soap, there was mugs, there was every little thing for wellness, centered around wellness, it was there. These are some mugs that were handmade and decorated by Edmonton community members. There was 350 of them. So people came, took them home, decorated them, got together with others in the community, and then delivered them back at a requested date. These are some paintings from local artists that were delivered to seniors. And it says, "You are important. You are bright as a star. You will always be important." And these are some of the cards, a little something to brighten your day, a little something to brighten your day with some hand finger printing. So how can we reach community members and enhance intergenerational engagement in our communities? We need to explore creative avenues and methods to reach people. This could be through word of mouth, which has worked very well. I think it's also about the sense of empowering others and organizations and communities and saying, "We would love to have you involved in this. You guys could play a great role in this," right? Just that encouragement and that empowerment to these people. Also, giving them opportunities to be leaders within these projects, right? Taking that leadership role. focusing on where you're marketing. So when we think about, a little bit older generations, seniors or mid-age people, we have Facebook, right? That's really popular. Younger people, you see more of them on Instagram, maybe on TikTok, right? So kind of making sure what demographic and what age group is really popular on which type of social media platforms is really important to understand and recognize. Going on Google, searching up, seniors organizations, daycares, local businesses, other communities, clubs, university clubs, and just reaching out to them, sending them a mass email. With our COVID compassion cards, we just wrote a mass email and we sent it all to these emails from University of Alberta clubs, Edmonton Public Schools, local senior organizations, local businesses, wherever it was. And we just sent it and we took that chance. Even if it was no, we still took that chance and gave them the opportunity to be involved. And kind of making sure you're working around something that, is accessible, right? And from there also, it never hurts to take a chance and put it out there, put your idea out there, right? There's always going to be that trial and that error. I think it's really important for people to also know your purpose. So if you're doing a project, if you're, hosting a virtual event like this, why are you doing it, right? What is the purpose of doing it? And what will hopefully be the outcome of all of this, right? So I think it's important to let people know, oh, we're just doing a seniors event. No, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? Letting them know more in detail so they can really have that understanding and that knowledge. And I think,
Sorry, Mira, one more minute, okay?
yeah. And so, it's working with the diverse generations. We have to come from a place of understanding too. So basically, from seniors, we've had a lot of students say, we want to help and we want to call seniors. Could you find seniors? But some seniors, have said, no, I don't want you guys to feel bad for me. But, wording and framing things and approaching things in a way where you're saying, you're helping these students gain volunteer hours or learn something new. So I think it's very important from the approaches we come from and the creativity we use to do all of this. And there are always going to be trial and error, but there's different ways to do things, and we just have to explore those avenues and have a goal and have a purpose and vision and really just make it happen.
So Mira, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, no worries.
And you're going to take your screen down, right? Okay, Mira, I am so impressed. I have been doing this for a number of years, and I took a whole page of notes. So I just thank you so much. So I know some of you probably have questions for her. We will not have Q&A right now. What we're going to do is after all three speakers have shared, we're going to divide you into 3 breakout rooms with a speaker in each one. And then the speakers will rotate through the rooms. So you will all have a chance to talk to each of the speakers and ask questions or ask for more information. Okay, so thanks again, Mira. That was amazing. And tomorrow when I send out the email, I'm going to send them your website because I think they need to look at your website. Okay, our next speaker is Jennifer Wilhelmsen, and she's from Prince George and Prince George. So after 25 years of being a chef, Jennifer decided to start a whole new career doing what she loved the most, working with seniors. She recently graduated from the Therapeutic Recreation Gerontology program at Lethbridge College, and she now works in Prince George as a program coordinator in recreation therapy in Gateway Lodge Complex Care. So Jennifer, we're really excited to hear from you.
Oh, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Mira, that was amazing. I just Love your energy, girl. Oh, I just love it. Okay, so let's get started here. Welcome to our discussion. I'm gonna just put it right here, okay? On intergenerational advocacy. My specialty is seniors, and so my take on this project will be seen through the gerontology lens. Like Betty said, I am a Red Seal chef by trade, and cooking for about 25 years. And then I had a midlife crisis. I decided to go back to school. And there's a couple of reasons for this. I had a couple of Oprah Winfrey aha moments that I'd like to talk to you about. So when it comes to intergenerationalism in my life, looking back, I realized that there were a couple of these moments that I didn't recognize at the time on how important it really was to me to be able to have relationships with older people, whether they be family, friends, or even just people in my community. When you're in your 20s, you don't always have older people on your list as someone that you would want to ring up or hang out with. And we're much more interested in our own age group, and we dismiss anyone over a certain age. However, as circumstances arise, such as volunteering and employment, and I did a lot of volunteering in my time, you sometimes just adapt to what is offered to you, good or bad. So for the good, it seemed, for the bad, it seems that growing up, I was one of these kids whose grandparents lived far away in Quebec or Germany or Sweden. And not only was distance a huge barrier for me, but because I saw them so infrequently, it was difficult to create a deep and meaningful relationship. Most of my grandparents died by the time I was 19. And my last grandmother, who had finally just moved to Prince George from Quebec a few short years earlier, died suddenly at age 68 from an aneurysm. So it was a shock to me and my family, of course. And you cope as one must in order to get through the grief. Dad asked if I wanted to be a pallbearer, and of course I did. I wrote a letter to Grandma to say goodbye. And the attendant at the funeral home was kind enough to sort of shrink down so that it would fit into that little tiny capsule that's on the side of the coffin. And I have the original here. I'm going to read it to you. It's just a short letter, but as you listen to it, you'll have the idea and that need that kind of comes through in the letter of that need for a familial relationship that never really transpired. So here's a letter. It's about 30 years old now. And I'll read that to you. Here I go. It says, "Dear Grandma, I don't know quite what to write in this note. I've never had anyone close to me die. It breaks my heart to know that I won't ever see you in this life again. And I know I'll miss you dearly and that my heart will heal. I wish that you and her family could have spent more time together, especially when Casey and I were younger." That's my brother. "Come to think of it, I wish you and I could have spent more time when I was older as well. I never really got to know you as well as I would have liked. I think that we would have had a lot to talk about because I would love to know about your past. I want to know what your childhood was like and what your favorite things were and who your friends were. What did you want to aspire to be? What were your dreams for the future? And your kids? What I do know is that I love you and I'm grateful for the peaceful way that you left. I'm grateful for the time that we spent together, the potholders, mitts, and scarves that you lovingly knitted for me, and the wonderful meals you prepared. I especially have fond memories of Thanksgiving and Christmas spent at your house with all of our family. I will look back on you so many times as we spent together fondly. Even though your death was an untimely shock to all of us, I take solace in the hopes that you are well and happy wherever you may be. My deepest love, respect, and admiration are with you. I love you, Grandma. I miss you. Love, Jenny and Casey." I always got to, put my brother in there. So when we went to bury her and we were surrounding her coffin, I remember feeling a bit numb, as though I was an outsider. And I also remember feeling that something was missing. My aunt, her youngest, was crying full on, as well as Dad. And I wish I could share that grief and profound loss with them. I wish I had those deep feelings to cry with the rest of the family, because then I would have known what it would be like to know and experience my grandmother too. And that is definitely one of those life regrets. So looking back now, I can definitely see that aspect of that missing relationship. As I said, I used to volunteer a lot as well. When I lived down in North Carolina, I volunteered with the Jewish Community Center. And this is also where my real love of seniors kind of came into play. And I knew that they would have a big role in my life as time moved forward. So one thing that I've learned through my friendships there was their compassion, wisdom, and sense of humor. Their kindness and willing to share their experiences is inspiring. Case in point, as I was so new to cooking kosher, that's what I did there, is I cooked. There were many, many recipes that I was unfamiliar with because I was so young. Things like kugel and brisket. I don't know if we have any Jewish people here with me today, but you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So the first time that I made brisket, there was definitely a day I won't soon forget. Nancy, the cook, or my boss, came over to the meat side of the kitchen and showed me what was on the menu for that day. Brisket. Did I know what it was or how to prepare it? No. Oh, but yes, of course. I always told her yes, yes, yes. All the time, yes. So she gave me a wary eye, as well she should have, and left me to my devices. I found the meat in the red fridge and brought it to my station. Oh, this is easy, I thought. It's just a giant steak. I bet these guys haven't had steak in ages. So I rubbed it well with steak spice and let it sit in the fridge until I was ready to cook it while I continued on with other things. After all, who wants overcooked meat? Oh. At 11:30, lunch was at 12, I took the meat out and grilled it to a perfect medium. That way, everyone is happy. It smelled wonderful and looked fantastic. I then let it rest as we served the salad. It was finally time to serve my brisket. I sliced it up and fanned it out expertly on the plates, nice and pink in the middle, and off it went to the dining room. Oh, look how nice the presentation is, they exclaimed. But it's not brisket. I said, oh, well, I just thought you guys might like it as a steak today. You know, something different. Have you made brisket before? They asked. Oh, of course, I lied. As they sniffed their plate and didn't believe me at all. And so it began, the cutting and the chewing and cutting smaller pieces and chewing more, the leaving on the side of the plate, the discreetly spitting into the unchewable meat into napkins or even just on the side of the plate for all to see. At the end of the meal, I went to gather the dishes, and when I noticed the plate of, or the plethora of creative and not so creative ways on how these poor people tried unsuccessfully to process their brisket. How was lunch? I asked. Super, so flavorful. I've never had brisket that way before. In the kitchen, Nancy broke the news of the unfortunate mistake of severely undercooking the meat. It needs 4 hours. What? Really? I did not know. What I did know, however, is how grateful and loved I felt from the kindness of the seniors I served that day. They allowed me to save face, show me the patience and encouragement, as well as building me up in confidence. It made me feel accepted by them, like I was part of the family, and I was. I did finally learn how to make brisket, FYI. So I then continued to cook for some time at my last job for 10 years at Gateway. And then I did go back to school to do the gerontology program. Working in my field means I get to create programs that enhance the social, emotional, physical, cognitive, and spiritual aspects of a person's life. It's called the social model of care.
Jennifer, can I interrupt? 2
Yes.
minutes.
2 more minutes. Oh my God. Okay.
I know, time's flying.
Time does fly. All right. So I wanted to spread awareness in our community by being a friendly advocate for our elders, getting out there, creating more accepting and normalizing, as well as richer experiences for everyone. Advocating in your community helps to break down barriers like installing even sidewalks, more benches to rest, becoming members of your city council, and creating charitable events and going to charitable events to really advocate and talk about what you want to do with seniors. In your place of work, you can promote hiring older adults, combating labor shortages, allowing a stronger pipeline of talent, creating these action steps to move forward as we embrace our seniors in our community. Let's see what else here. According to a Kansas study at a university there, it was found that without valuable interactions with older adults, children are at risk of developing harmful stereotypes and misconceptions about older generations and negative feelings about aging. The study also found that intergenerational programs can help improve such perceptions. Schools are fantastic places to spread awareness in intergenerational activities. Working in collaboration with schools allows the benefit to truly go both ways when it comes to learning from each other. And there are so many possibilities to engage in meaningful ways. For my area where I work, we created Halloween costume parties where the kids come and show off their costumes and the seniors get to reminisce and hand out candy. There are game days when the elders can teach the young how to play bridge, bingo, chess, etc. Not to mention the pageants and other small performances like choirs and band. I just wanted to talk about the goals for intergenerationalism through activities and programs that include to promote opportunity for fun and enjoyment in a group setting, to encourage social interaction between residents and school children, to provide opportunity for understanding, learning, and building of friendships between residents and school-aged children, and to create opportunities for reminiscing and reflection and sharing of personal stories and laughter. These measurable outcomes include participant engagement, appropriate social engagement, interaction in a fun and safe environment. So these are the types of things that I like to promote. I like to get it back out into that community and be part of other intergenerational programs that when you kind of think outside the box. So I actually am also a radio DJ for CFIS 93.1, your community radio station. And this is for our boomers and our Zoomers. It's the best of the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. And this is intergenerational because not only am I getting out into the community, but because it's an older listening audience, they get to hear me, sort of the Gen Xer, talking with them, introducing their music. I get to learn from them. They call into the show, and it's a really great banter back and forth. And it gives everyone sort of that outlet and awareness throughout the radio waves. Globally,
sorry, Jennifer.
That's okay.
Our time is up.
That is pretty much it. There'll be a lot more to discuss as we go into our specific groups. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate being here.
Okay, thank you. What an interesting life you've had. And I love that you are working with seniors now, and especially that you're interested in the intergenerational part, because as we all know, that is so important, so important. Okay, thank you. I think it'd be awesome to sit down and have coffee with you for an afternoon, Jennifer.
Yes.
Okay, for our last speaker, we have Anita Newling. She's all the way from Fredericton. This is a national event today. Isn't that great? So Anita is a former pediatric nurse and educator who's been working in youth supporting nonprofits for the last 5 years. She's the Child and Youth Program Manager at Capital Region Mental Health and Addictions Association in Fredericton. And this is what really impressed me, Anita. She has developed and facilitated 38 different initiatives since she started there 18 months ago. Anita and I met each other last May when we both took a course to become international certified IG practitioners. Since then, she started the Better Together program in her community. So Anita, 10 minutes max.
Yep. I have my stopwatch here and I'm going to start it now.
Okay, we're looking forward to hearing all about what you do in New Brunswick.
Great. It's really hard because I have a different accent to everyone else. And when I talk quickly, it's even harder to understand me. So I'll try and keep not too fast, but still keeping my 10 minutes here. So when I started with the organization 18 months ago, I knew that I'd want to include intergenerational programming. Intergenerational relationships have been really important to me since I was young, and especially in my 20s, I had some wonderful relationships. I knew I'm coming from a mental health organization, from that mental health lens, but I knew that intergenerational program was going to be a positive thing for mental health. And it's not something that's used specifically here very often. So I really wanted to explore that. I also did a report I sent out into the community, and this is a great thing for people to do if you want to connect with your community. I sent out a kind of survey to teachers and parents and youth as to, what do you want? What do you want in your community? What would strengthen your community? And lots of the feedback that came back was, we want to be involved in groups. We want a hub. We want, places that we can connect with others. And this is kind of in a post-COVID world. So I knew intergenerational programming was going to be ideal for what people were looking for. So I did this course with Betty, which was great. And that was kind of a bouncing off point for me. So we really learned about the real the core principles that had to be in an intergenerational program to make those, important connections, one-on-one connections, and make this really worthwhile and mutually beneficial for everyone. So I'm going to run through a few things that we did quickly, and then how we connected to community through those projects. And then there'll be more time in the chat to discuss that in our little groups. The first program I started was an intergenerational program in a senior center in our city. It's actually owned by the city, and it's really a rec center for seniors, like you would have a youth rec center. So seniors come in fact, it's actually older adults over 55. They have their own board, they have a kind of a program committee, and they decide what's going to be in there. So they have yoga classes and bridge and, cooking and crafts and things like that. So I approached them to have the first program here. And the reason for that is it's a hub. So, you already got these seniors together. This is a community hub already. So you're not just gathering people who are going to be involved in the program, you're reaching a much wider community. And this sparked great interest by the community. We had 12 older adults enroll and 18 children. That we brought them together, and it was like a pilot, really. It was a recreational activities, so we had a little bit of everything, but of music. We had seniors ukulele group came in and taught them about ukulele, and they got to try some of those. And then so we tried a little bit of everything as a kind of pilot to see what landed. But the community really embraced it, and it was very interested. The media were interested. They wanted to do radio interviews and things like that. So that was, again, a great way to connect further than just the people you're working with, is to get the word out in the community. So that, that went really well. Because as Betty said, I run so many programs that the Better Together program is only one of my programs. So I can only really do one intergenerational program at a time. There's only me working in child and youth programming here. So in the after we'd done this pilot project, I moved into, over the summer, doing a gardening project. And this was just amazing. Again, finding a hub. So I found the Fredericton Organic Community Garden. And so even though members of the garden weren't part of the project, they got to hear about it, and they got to talk to their families and the people they knew. And it's all about creating that wave of knowledge and sharing about intergenerational programming and the benefits. So this was a great project. It was very small. We had one raised bed that they donated to us. And we had 3 older adults and 3 children. And what was wonderful was that it was for the first time we had those one-on-one connections that I've been wanting to kind of foster from the very beginning. This was very successful. They had a wonderful time. It wasn't just about gardening. We learned lots of other things about other plants that were growing, and we had people come in and talk to us, and we had artists come and join us for watercolor art and things. So again, got lots of interest from the community. It's just talking about it all the time. That went so well that they've actually donated a very large bed to us this year. It's about the equivalent of 8 to 10 normal beds, and we're going to have a much bigger project this year, and we've collaborated with the community kitchen and food bank, so everything we grow together will be donated to the community, to those in need. So that's a really exciting project coming up. Again, only can do one project at a time. So in the fall, having finished the garden project, I moved into an intergenerational choir. And this was just fantastic. This time I decided to have the hub in a school, in an after school project actually. And so the after school had 32 kids. And we decided in the space, there was only really space on top of the staff for 8 seniors. So I just went out there, and this is the community connection, is where are you going to find your participants? So I reached out to some places I hadn't before. Because it was a music project, I spoke to local choirs and groups, musical groups that might have seniors involved, that might be interested in being in a choir. And then also like this retired Teachers Association was a great resource as well. And we quickly found 8 older adults, and we got together. They had a wonderful time. That I have a grant from Help Age Canada, so I was able to hire a musician to come and lead these classes. And he chose a song from Encanto. Don't say anything about Bruno, because it's been if you know the song. The seniors did not know the music, did not know the song, but they went away and they did their homework. They went and watched the movie, they learned the song. Anyway, the project wasn't really about, we were never going to do a performance. It was about the process. So it was more about getting to know each other. And there was, each adult senior there had between 2 to 4 students in their little group. And we did lots of activities. I know lots of you are involved in intergenerational programs already. So you've probably done the grandparents activity, the grandfriends, the mystery grandfriend activity, which they absolutely loved. And the wonderful thing was it was obviously quite in front of you, breaking down ageism, because these seniors were in this kind of mystery game. They were finding out that they were, yoga teachers, and one of them was a race driver. And one of them ran marathons, and they couldn't believe, because that these older adults were doing these wonderful things. So it was really breaking down those ageist barriers right in front of your eyes. So that was a really wonderful project. The project I'm working on now this spring, we're moving into a care home locally. They have an adult day program where adults come in. They're living independently in the community, but they open their space for them to come in during the day. And many of the seniors are just bored at home. They maybe don't have family locally, and it's just a center for them to come to on a daily basis to have activities. So we've paired with a school that's local, and those students are going to be able to walk to the school, which is great. And this is a 6-week project. And this is going to, it's like an interview project. They're going to be paired one-on-one. In fact, we've done the pairing already, which is, we're ready to go. And there's some special things, like one of the boys in the class has recently been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And one of the seniors has type 1 diabetes, and they've been paired together, and they know about this. And this young boy is just so excited that he already has so many questions that he's going to be able to learn from the senior that he's been paired with. So yeah, this is a 6-week project, and these students are coming to interview the seniors, and then they're going to do a project on what they've learned about them and some kind of history and things. And then the school is going to invite the seniors back to their school for a barbecue and a presentation of all their work. So that's
Anita, sorry, can you wrap it up?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Just watching my clock.
What does your time say?
That's okay. That's okay. It doesn't matter. I can wrap up there, because that's the last project I'm working on right now. There's, as far as what we're connecting to community, and the kind of, we can talk about in the small groups about other ways we've done it, or if anyone has any questions, and I'd love to hear from other people too. Thank you very much, Betty.
Sorry, Anita.
No, that's great.
Overtime. Thank you. Thank you. I'm amazed that you are the only one, and you can only run one at a time, and look at all the ones that you do. Okay, that's, don't you, for the rest of you, don't you just wish you could listen to each of these speakers for half an hour each? I'm sorry that we don't have more time to do that, but if it's okay, Anita and Jennifer and Mira, and you can let me know separately, but if it's okay to share your emails, I will be sending out an email tomorrow to everybody who registered, And if people have more questions, maybe they can contact you. Because I'm sure they do. There's a lot of work that you guys are doing. It's amazing. Okay, so now what we're going to do, excuse me, Erin is going to divide you into 3 breakout rooms. And at the end of, let me see, what time is it? It's 20 after. So I think we have about 20 minutes. So maybe 7 minutes in each breakout room. At the end of 7 minutes, stay in your breakout room. There's going to be a warning, like a 1-minute warning, but that's only for the speakers. And then we will rotate the speakers around. So all of you will be able to spend time with each of our speakers, okay? And then at the end of that time, we'll come back for a wrap up and I'll tell you more about Intergenerational Week. Okay, so Erin, do you want to put them in breakout rooms and enjoy?
Here we go.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot to do that. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed today's event, listening to the speakers, and in the breakout rooms, I popped into a couple of times, and it sounded like some great discussions. And, we never have enough time, right? We never have as much time as we want, but it's really important if you can join the core. Okay, let's talk about Global IG Week. And I'm just going to see if I can pull up my screen here. Global Intergenerational Week. Now, this is all around the world. People in different countries around the world are celebrating and actually trying to create awareness in their communities and also in their countries. So what I want you to think about is, how can you create more awareness in your community about the benefits, reciprocal benefits, of intergenerational programming? And so and tomorrow I'll be sending you an email, and I'm going to put a bunch of links in there and some more information about Global Intergenerational Week. But what I would like you to do is, if you post something on your social media platform, use this hashtag so that other people will be able to see that. If you want to be a supporter, I'll send you a link for that too, because it's generations working together in Scotland that actually initiated Global Intergenerational Week. And so we all share a website on their page, a page on their website. And so I'll send you a link too. If you want to be a supporter, then you will get information that you can use to celebrate Global IG Week in your community. Okay. What else do I want to talk to you about? Erin's going to put a link in the chat box because we would love your feedback. And tomorrow I'll also send you a link so that you can do feedback about this event. We want to hear what you liked about it. What did you learn? I'm sure you learned things. And also to get ideas for other programs that we, other events that we do in the future. So let me tell you about our next event, which is in May. This is an IG Cafe. It's different than what we're doing today. Today is an actual event. IG Cafe is, we have a topic, and then people we come together. Sometimes we have one person that is more of an expert on that topic, but it's more of a conversation. Imagine showing up at a coffee shop and talking about intergenerational stuff. That's what an IG Cafe is. And the topic will be IG Day. I just told you about Global IG Week in Canada and in Alberta too. In Canada, we have National Intergenerational Day on June 1st. And last year in Alberta, it was declared in perpetuity. Okay, a declaration of IG Day in Alberta on June 1st. So we're going to talk about that because it's really a big deal and it's a great way to create awareness. And we're also going to talk about Seniors Week, which is June 5th to 11th. And I know a lot of you do a lot of things for Seniors Week. Okay, I already talked to you about core. Okay, let me just stop sharing. And I want to tell you another great idea because you're our community. If you're familiar with CORE, it's healthy aging. CORE, if you're familiar and have been involved in them, we have communities all over Alberta. And what they started doing last year was doing healthy aging core regional events. I was too busy, I couldn't go to one. But Erin, were you involved in them last year?
It's like a little bit.
Okay, so usually they do them in different pockets of the province. And what our community of practice team, we have this idea that wouldn't it be great if we could get together in person? And so watch your emails because we've got an idea and hopefully we can make it happen. And we'd like to piggyback onto the healthy aging core regional events, because if you're going to the event, then we thought those of us in our community of practice, anybody who's interested in intergenerational work, we can get together for dinner afterwards. Wouldn't that be fun? And we can meet each other in person. And so the one in Red Deer, I think, would be kind of central for most of Alberta. And that'll be in June, but we'll be sending you out, we'll be sending more information. Okay, so now what I want you to think of, and actually you can put it in the chat box if you want. What can you do to create IG, intergenerational awareness in your community? Think of one action step. And I loved what Mira, I think it was you that said word of mouth. And, you know, even if you just tell your friend who could maybe tell their friends, or, you know, that's something small. You might want to do something big to spread IG awareness in your community. I get this newsletter and I can't remember where it's from because I get so many, but you know what they do? They call it the 5-generational dinner. And so they're very intentional. They make sure, I don't know if you can actually get 5 generations together, but even 5 decades of ages. And so get them at a table. So if you know somebody older than you, like a few generations older, a few generations younger, get a few people together and then find some questions, Google some questions, so that you can have really meaningful discussion about the value of intergenerational friendships. That's an idea. Okay. Any last minute comments?
Betty, I just so you know, I also popped into the chat all of the registration and location information for the regional gatherings.
Oh,
So people can see the different dates as well as how to register. It's all free. So this is a bit different than what Betty was just saying about piggybacking onto one of them. But if you want to see what's available across the province, that's in the link. So just
okay. Can you email me that link too?
Yeah.
And then I will put that in the email tomorrow. So tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning, you will get an email from me with the recording of today's event, also with a whole bunch of links. So just skim through. There'll be some there that you're interested in, some that you aren't. But if there's any there that you are interested in, feel free. And I want to thank you again. It's 11:59. Thank you so much for coming. And I hope you got great value out of today. And I really appreciate your attendance. And Mira, Jennifer, and Anita, thank you again so much. And I'll share their emails in the email tomorrow, so that if you have any questions specific to what they're doing, you can contact them personally.